Available now. Link below.
Imagine for a moment a saga so entangled in controversy, personal vendettas, and legal battles that it could change the way we view justice and accountability in our republic. The center of the storm, former President Donald Trump, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, and a Georgia judge who just made a decision that's reverberating across the nation. Charges dismissed, allegations of misconduct, and a governor stepping into the fray, wielding new legislation like a sword against what he deems as rogue prosecutors. This isn't just another news story, it's a pivotal moment in our nation's history. So why should you care? Because at the heart of this drama lies the integrity of our legal system and the very principles our republic stands for. So stay with us for the entire report, and trust me, you don't want to miss our final thought on why this matters to you, the American people. Now, folks, before we dive into the heart of today's groundbreaking report, I do want to share something crucial with you. Just like the top-notch news we bring you day in and day out, achieving a balanced and just legal system requires support from all corners. And speaking of support, let's talk about tackling a problem many Americans face, excess belly fat. Just as unwanted changes and charges and legal missteps can put pressure on our justice system, excess belly fat presses against our most vital organs, leading to a host of health issues. That's why I've turned to an incredible new product designed to promote fat breakdown, manage weight, and boost metabolism, all backed by science. It's a game changer in a fight for our health. And here's the best part. For the rest of the month, you can get 51% off or until supplies run out. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Head to trimwithgary.com. That's trimwithgary.com. Now let's get back to our report. In a courtroom far removed from the court of public opinion, a Georgia judge has made a decision that shakes the foundations of what some have described as a politically motivated witch hunt. This case involving former President Donald Trump has been under the microscope, not just for the legal precedents it sets, but for the glaring spotlight it shines on the prosecutorial conduct of Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. Judge Scott McAfee's ruling to dismiss 6 charges against Trump and his co-defendants has sent shockwaves through the corridors of justice and politics alike. The state's failure to provide sufficient justification for these charges underscores a troubling narrative that the pursuit of Trump may have been driven more by political animus than by the letter of the law. Take a look.
You know, Tammy, and then all of this comes back to public perception because this is in the middle of an election. And, you know, I just was reading the Associated Press and their reporting of this morning, and just one line stuck out to me. They said, you know, she's using the RICO statute, and then there's a sentence they use. The case uses a statute normally associated with mobsters to accuse the former president, lawyers, and other aides of a criminal enterprise to keep him in power. That's the Associated Press.
Yeah, and that was the point. This has been their campaign. And remember, what they all thought was going to happen at the beginning was that this would crush Trump psychologically. It would crush his supporters. It would be over. This was the narrative. And then we saw the opposite happening. But that's why it was like throwing the kitchen sink and all the noodles on the fridge. Everything that would stick would have to go, thinking that's all that it would take. That would give them the time they needed, because that was the campaign. So this becomes now about credibility. Her credibility with the other issue about her own behavior, about what she campaigned on, about being a legitimate person who wouldn't have affairs with people in her office, combined with this is what you do. And, of course, when you find out that you just threw it into the sink, you didn't know what you were doing, perhaps, to your point, it means that the American people feel more confident in President Trump at this point.
Can I say something real quick? The reason I asked June is because I'm wondering if you have to get it in before those conventions start. Because if it looks like that narrative isn't sticking, and the Democrats have to do something else, I mean, they can't make them any younger. So what are they going to do? Will they appoint somebody? Will they vote for somebody else at their convention?
They'll switch him out at that point.
We'll see. Well, we are watching, and Friday.
Now, with Willis at the helm of this contentious case, she finds herself embroiled in controversy not just for her prosecutorial decisions, but for an alleged impropriety that questions the very integrity of the office she holds. The revelation of her relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, coupled with the dismissal of charges, paints a disturbing picture of a legal system manipulated by personal and political agendas. The case is now morphed into a litmus test for the objectivity and fairness our justice system is supposed to embody. Renowned legal scholar Jonathan Turley, reacting to the stunning developments in the Georgia case, he declares that this case is dissembling in front of our eyes. And he points to the prosecutor's failure to present basic facts to support their charges, questioning the grand jury's decision-making process. And he suggests that time is running out for Willis to salvage her case and achieve her ultimate goal of trying Trump before the election. Watch.
What do you think will happen in this case as it relates to her, and what should happen in your view?
Well, this case is disassembling in front of our eyes. This was a very basic error. You know, this is a major case, but these prosecutors didn't put together the most basic narrative or facts that have to support these counts. The question is, what did the grand jury know? If it wasn't in the indictment, how did they vote out these crimes? What were they told as the basis? Because the judge just said, you're not even telling the defendant what he needs to know to defend himself. I don't know what facts you're alleging here. Now, they could go back to the grand jury and get a superseding indictment, but that's going to take time. It's going to take time off the clock. And they might have a problem doing what is obviously their overriding purpose here, which is to try Donald Trump before the election. They could just go without these counts. The judge said, I'll let you refer to the underlying conduct. I just won't let you use them as standalone crimes for these particular counts unless you go back to the grand jury.
And the drama doesn't end in the courtroom. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, stepping into the breach, has enacted legislation targeting rogue prosecutors. This move, while politically charged, speaks to a growing concern over the accountability of those who wield immense power in the criminal justice system. Kemp's legislation is not just a rebuke of Willis' handling of the Trump case, it's a statement on the need for prosecutorial conduct to remain above reproach, ensuring that justice is served without the taint of political bias. Critics of Willis have not been shy in voicing their concerns. Allegations of an improper relationship with Wade, who has been intimately involved in the Trump case, raises alarming questions about the potential for conflict of interest. Now, this scenario where personal connections could influence legal proceedings is precisely the kind of ethical quagmire the justice system must avoid. The fact that these allegations have led to serious discussions about Willis' disqualification from the case highlights the severity of the situation. Now, in the backdrop of this legal and political theater stands a figure who has polarized the nation like few others, Donald Trump. The former president, no stranger to legal scrutiny, has consistently claimed innocence in the face of what he describes as a politically motivated witch hunt. McAfee's dismissal of the charges lends credence to the argument that this case may have been less about upholding the law and more about settling political scores. The saga also casts a shadow over Fulton County's judicial integrity. Willis' actions and the subsequent fallout have transformed this case into a spectacle that undermines public confidence in the prosecutorial process. The intertwining of politics and justice, as seen here, serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of allowing the former to unduly influence the latter. And meanwhile, the broader implications of Kemp's legislative intervention can't be ignored. By targeting rogue prosecutors, the governor is sending a clear message that the justice system should not be a battleground for political vendettas. This legislation, while controversial to some, underscores a fundamental principle that the pursuit of justice must be impartial, free from the influence of political agendas and personal biases. So as dust settles on this latest chapter in the Trump legal saga, one thing remains clear: the battle lines between justice and politics have been redrawn. The dismissal of charges against Trump is not just a legal victory for the former president, it's a moment of reckoning for the legal system and those who serve it. The allegations against Willis, combined with the legislative actions of Governor Kemp, reflect a tumultuous period in Georgia's legal history, one that will be scrutinized for years to come. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This story at its core is about more than just the legal battles of a former president. It's a reminder of the fragile balance between justice and political influence in our republic. The dismissal of charges against Donald Trump by Judge McAfee isn't merely a headline in the next news day. It's a pivotal moment that demands we reflect on the integrity of our legal system. When prosecutors like Fani Willis become embroiled in controversy, it shakes public trust to its very foundation. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's decisive action to curb rogue prosecutors is a necessary step towards restoring faith in our justice process. As Americans, we must vigilantly ensure that the pursuit of justice is never tainted by personal vendettas or political ambitions. And it matters because it underscores the paramount importance of upholding the principles of fairness and impartiality in our justice system for the sake of our republic's future. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.